Okay, Professor Jim Schultz here from my Finance 680 class. As promised, I wanted to go ahead and cut this YouTube video for number 15 from chapter 14. And so let's go ahead and get rolling with this problem. This is a pretty good problem to try and understand pretty well. It's somewhat involved, but as you see, as we go through it, you're going to recognize it's not that difficult. It shouldn't be too mentally challenging for you. It's just kind of tedious. You know, some of these whack problems are really just you got to just put in the work. You know, you just got to log in the man hours and knock these guys out. But they're not too mentally challenging. Okay, so the way this problem starts off, the logical first step is to find the market value of each component. Find the market value of E, D, and P for preferred. Okay, so again, as we kind of talked about in class, the market value of E is going to be equal to the number of shares outstanding, which is given in the problem, 310,000 shares, times the current price per share, also given in the problem, of $57. So that gives you a little over 17 million. Market value of debt, again, as we talked about in class, number of bonds times par value per bond times current quote of the bond. So you have 8,000 bonds, each for $1,000, and their current quote is 106. So that gives you almost 8.5 million on the market value of debt. And then finally, preferred stock found in exactly the same manner as common stock by the number of shares times the current price per share. So that gives you a little over $1 million. And then once you have these numbers, it makes sense to go ahead and solve for V, which is always going to be E plus D plus P. And so the sum of all these guys is V, 27 million, I'm sorry, 27,230,000. So once you have those guys, you could go in a couple different directions here. You don't necessarily have to find the cost of equity first, but that's how I approach this problem. You could essentially find any of the three costs in any order that you prefer. Cost of equity, in this problem, I'm going to use the capital asset pricing model to solve for the cost of equity. Again, remember, there's two different ways that we could do this, right? We could use CAPM, we could use the dividend discount model. It's all going to depend on the circumstances that you are presented with. So in this problem, we're given risk-free rate of 4.5%. We're given beta of 1.05. We're given market risk premium of 7%. Let me point that out. Market risk premium. Remember, market risk premium is RM minus RF, right? So it's not RM equals 7%. It's the market risk premium is 7%. So you can pop that guy right into the parentheses there. So that comes out to 11.85% as your cost of equity. Then moving down to your cost of debt. In this problem, like I mentioned in class, we assume all the textbook problems make the assumption that YTM is the appropriate cost of debt, and so we will maintain that assumption with the textbook problems. You guys will have more practice utilizing potentially coupons as your cost of debt as I send you guys out some more problems to work on. So for this guy, it's really just plug and chug again, where your par value is 1,000, N is 50. These all have to be semi-annual. N is 50. Your payment is going to be half of 65, and then your price is going to be 1060, which was simply found by taking the quote of 106 times 106% of par, which is 1060. So then you knock through that guy and you get the semi-annual yield to maturity is 3.016. So you have to multiply that guy by 2 and you get 6.03% as your cost of debt. And then finally, your cost of preferred. This is something we didn't have time to cover in class, but again, I'm fairly confident that you guys as graduate students can handle this on your own. But I will make a quick comment. The cost of preferred is found by simply taking the dividend payment divided by the current price. And so the current price is 72. The dividend payment of $4 was found by the information in the problem where it says it is 4% preferred. That 4% is actually not the cost of the preferred. That 4% is the dividend that is based on a $100 par value, which is the typical assumption for preferred stock. So when you read through that information, that is how you handle that. That is going to be the amount of the dividend payment. When it says 4% preferred, that's 4% of $100. That gives you your dividend payment of $4. So your cost of the preferred here is 5.56. So once you have all these numbers, you now have the WACC equation as we laid out in class. you really just pop all these guys in and knock through this, right? This is E over V, right? So there's E that we found, there's V that we found, there's R sub E plus plus P over V times R sub P plus D over V times R sub D times 1 minus T, which was also given to you in the problem where T was 35%. So 1 minus T would obviously be 0.65. So when you plug all those guys in and you go through the calculation, you get a weighted average cost of capital of 9.13%. So this is number 15 in chapter 14. I really hope this was helpful for you guys. Obviously, again, whack problems will definitely be on the final. Definitely something you want to spend some time practicing. But again, I don't think this is too mentally challenging. We'll save all the mentally challenging stuff for chapter 16. So I'll see you guys next time.